What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you can have me at your next event. And if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. What makes you smarter? And learn with me right here on the program. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Sunday, April 26th, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, global coronavirus deaths surpassed 200,000. The global death toll from the COVID-19 coronavirus surpassed 200,000 on Saturday, with the total number of infections now beyond 2.9 million. In the United States, there are now more than 900,000 cases and 50,000 deaths. Dr. Deborah Birx, the White House's coronavirus response coordinator, said Saturday night that she expects the rate of those hospitalized and dying from the disease in the United States will fall, quote, dramatically, end quote, by the end of May. Though she also said that won't necessarily mean the number of cases will simultaneously dwindle, since increased testing could pick up many asymptomatic or mild cases. This is according to Johns Hopkins University and The Washington Post. Number 2, report. White House considering replacing Azar. White House officials are discussing a plan to replace Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar, though they're reluctant to complete to any major shakeups within the Trump administration during the coronavirus pandemic. Politico and the Wall Street Journal report. Still, criticism of Azar's role has reportedly mounted in recent weeks, especially after director of the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, Rick Bright, was moved to a National Institutes of Health position, a transfer which Bright described as a form of retaliation. President Trump had reportedly expressed frustration with Azar even before the pandemic and ultimately placed him as the coronavirus task force leader with Vice President Mike Pence. This is according to Politico and the Wall Street Journal. Number 3. Trump says coronavirus briefings not worth the time and effort. President Trump tweeted Saturday evening that holding White House press briefings to address the coronavirus pandemic were no longer, quote, worth the time and effort, end quote, because the media asks, quote, nothing but hostile questions, end quote, and then, quote, refuses to report the truth, end quote. The tweet comes after Friday's briefing, which was the shortest since Trump began holding them in March. There was no briefing Saturday, and Sunday's White House schedule did not list any public events for the president. The decision to scale back the briefings is likely related to backlash to Trump's comments on Thursday when he pondered whether doctors should look into injecting harmful disinfectants into COVID-19 patients. This is according to NBC News and The Guardian. Number 4, CDC adds 6 new coronavirus symptoms to website. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention recently added 6 new possible symptoms of the coronavirus to its website, bringing the total number up to 9 after COVID-19 patients reported a wide range of symptoms. The additions include chills, repeated shaking with chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, and new loss of taste or smell. The list already included fever, cough, and shortness of breath. Doctors are continuing to learn more about the virus, which doesn't always result in symptoms, meaning patients can fall anywhere on the scale of being asymptomatic to experiencing severe illness. This is according to The Hill and ABC News. Number 5, Kim Jong-un's train likely spotted at coastal resort by satellite. Satellite imagery has shown a train believed to belong to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un parked at his compound in the coastal resort of Wonsan, bolstering evidence that the 36-year-old is alive amid speculation that either He died or was gravely ill. Rumors began swirling after Kim missed the April 15th commemoration of the 108th birthday of his grandfather, and Reuters reported Saturday that China dispatched a medical team to, quote, advise on, end quote, Kim. But veteran North Korea analysts have downplayed the idea that his health is critical, noting that it's not the first time the leader has vanished from the public eye. South Korean intelligence has maintained the belief that Kim is alive. Still, North Korea is one of the world's most secretive and isolated nations, making it difficult to gather accurate reports. This is according to the Associated Press and the Washington Post. Number 6, UK's Johnson returning to work on Monday. After recovering from the coronavirus at his country residence, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is set to return to work Monday. Johnson was hospitalized with the virus earlier this month and eventually moved to intensive care when his condition worsened before he was discharged. But his medical team has signed off on his return, and he's reportedly, quote, raring to go, end quote. Johnson began participating in some meetings last week, but is now heading back to Downing Street. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab, who filled in for Johnson during his absence, said Johnson coming back to work would be, quote, a boost for the country, end quote. The UK's death toll from the virus exceeded 20,000 on Saturday, the 5th highest in the world. This is according to the Financial Times and the BBC. Number 7, China says all coronavirus patients in Wuhan discharged. A Chinese government official on Sunday said there are now no coronavirus patients hospitalized in Wuhan, the original epicenter of the pandemic. Official statistics show 46,452 total infections and 3,869 deaths from the virus since the outbreak began there late last year. Although critics believe the numbers are vastly underreported, Wuhan has been showing signs of recovery in recent weeks as lockdown restrictions eased and makeshift hospitals were cleared. As of Saturday, officials said the city had just 12 coronavirus cases, none of them new infections, while Beijing reported 11 new cases for the entire mainland Sunday. Mi Feng, the spokesman for China's National Health Commission, said the government would continue to guard, quote, against transmissions from the outside and rebounds from within, end quote. This is according to the New York Times and CNBC. Number 8, Yemeni separatist group declares self-rule. The Southern Transitional Council, a United Emirates-backed separatist movement in Yemen, declared self-rule Saturday, breaking a peace deal with the country's internationally recognized and Saudi-backed government. The STC said it would govern the port city of Aden, where it's based, and other southern provinces. The Yemeni government warned of, quote, dangerous and catastrophic consequences, end quote, for the move. Both sides have previously fought together in the Saudi-led coalition war against Yemen's Houthi rebels, but the separatists seized Aden last August before agreeing to the peace deal months later. The latest news further complicates the situation in Yemen, which is mired in a civil war on the brink of famine and could soon face a coronavirus outbreak. This is according to Al Jazeera and The Guardian. Number 9, children under 14 allowed outside in Spain for first time in 6 weeks. Children in Spain under 14 were allowed to venture outside for the first time since 6 weeks ago, when a nationwide lockdown was put into place as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, which has hit the country particularly hard. The children can go outside for 1 hour each day between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., but they have to remain within 1 kilometer from their homes, and public parks remain off limits. Children older than 14 are still confined to their homes. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has said Madrid is hoping to ease some more restrictions in early May if cases continue to fall. This is according to the BBC and Axios. Number 10, SNL back again with virtual episode. NBC's Saturday Night Live returned for its second virtual produced from home episode during the coronavirus pandemic Saturday evening. Academy Award-winning actor Brad Pitt kicked things off, appearing as Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. during the episode's cold open. Pitts exasperated Fauci warned people not to consume disinfectants in light of recent comments by President Trump and admitted he was likely getting fired because Trump said he wasn't. Eventually, Pitt broke the fourth wall, removed his wig, and thanked Fauci for his leadership during the pandemic. This is according to Saturday Night Live. That's 10 things you need to know today for Sunday, April 26, 2020. I hope everyone's doing reasonably well. Drop me some comments. If you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. This has been What Makes You Smarter. Use the hashtag What Makes You Smarter to find this one. This is Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here. If you like what you hear, I encourage you to follow What Makes You Smarter on social media. Find it on Facebook at What Makes You Smarter, Instagram at What Makes You Smarter, Twitter at SmarterWhat, and YouTube. Username Keys Dan. Leave What Makes You Smarter podcast a review and subscribe. Listen to What Makes You Smarter podcast on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Podcast Addict. My personal favorite, learn with me on my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. And if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Call 501-470-6386 and leave a message to set up a time for What Makes You Famous. Support What Makes You Smarter podcast using the PayPal, paypal.me/Keys Dan. Email info@radiowhat.com. What Makes You Smarter is a production of Keys Dan Enterprises Incorporated at keysdan.com. Thank you for listening.